What's up, y'all? Y'all are listening to Living Corporate's flagship podcast. If you didn't know, Living Corporate helps organizations build employee engagement and market trust through data analytics and data transformation, our e-learning platform, and brand marketing storytelling. We're so excited for you to be here today. The conversation you're about to hear is going to connect the dots between employee experience and go-to-market effectiveness. If you're not ready, get ready. Here we go. So, what's going on, y'all? Zach Living Corporate here. As you know, I don't typically do like live streams. Typically, the things that you see that we post as live streams, we've recorded them as events, and then we air them at a later time, right? But I wanted to try something a little bit different here. Want to put this on the Patreon, see who joins, who can join, listens live. If nobody joins, it's cool. But wanted to at least just try something different, try something new. I want to talk about. Now I got about 20 minutes. So I'm going to talk about my story, the time that I actually worked at Target. I worked at Target. That was my first job coming out of college. It was a huge deal. Like, that was my first salary gig. Did not know what it would be. Did not imagine me being able to even have a job at Target, like as an HR manager, as a store manager. Believe it or not, y'all, that was a very prestigious gig. Like, Target recruited heavily out of my college and out of my business school. So getting that gig was a huge deal. The interview process was very arduous. And man, I was making a whopping $44,000 a year, man. And then got a raise to $45,000 a year. I was so excited, so grateful for this incredible opportunity at Target. But you know, what came to me pretty quickly in my time at Target was a couple things. First off, I am a creative person. Like, I know that now at 35, going on 36. But I didn't really appreciate how creative I was and how much I needed creativity in my day-to-day to just keep me going. And so I would come to Target and, you know, think about it. It's not Target corporate, it's Target stores. So you come to Target, you're in a limited space. You're doing the same thing every day, right? You're setting up planograms and zoning boxes and making sure that people take their lunch breaks on time. You're just kind of doing the same things over and over and over. And you're very much so limited to a very specific space, especially in human resources. You're following a guidebook, right? Target is extremely regulation driven, right? So like everything they do is driven by a book. Everything that they do is driven by rules and regulations. So even the events and types of things you want to do to reward good behavior, activity, or foster engagement, those things are all outlined in a book. So you very much so are beholden to this book. There isn't a lot of space, y'all, for creativity. On top of that, it's a lot of tasks. It's a lot of tasks. And I didn't realize until I got a little bit older, because I remember somebody who I really have always admired from afar, Bomani Jones, once he would often say, "I don't like tasks." And I was like, what do you mean you don't like tasks? But as I got a little older, I was like, oh, I don't really like tasks either. I don't like the idea of just doing a thing to do it. I like being able to ideate and strategize. I like being able to imagine something and then like build it with my hands. And so, again, Target was not that, right? It was a great place for kind of cutting your teeth on just work in corporate America. Was a great place to help you understand, building and working with teams and leading a variety of diverse people, right? So like I was an HR manager. I was 21 years old at the time. And I had folks who were twice my age, sometimes 3 times my age, that I had to tell them and dictate and delegate or tell them what to do. That was new. That was an experience. But I realized, like, a couple months in that I was not going to make it at Target, right? Like, I just did not want to work there, right? It just was not the place for me. I had a boss who was awful, very racist, ignorant, and just and also just a dishonest person. But I mean, she's racist, so I mean, obviously she's going to be dishonest. But I'm just saying, like, not a good person, right? And so we did not get along. Those tensions got higher and higher and higher. I found out that she was like talking about me, maligning my character behind my back and undercutting me and like blocking opportunities for me to go and work elsewhere because I didn't really want to work at that store. Wanted to try something else. Wasn't getting the support I needed for that. So time goes on, and my breaking point was Black Friday. So for those who don't know, retail big box, you're working every day. Your standard day is 10 hours. Okay. Now maybe it's changed because this was back in like 2011, right? So maybe it's changed. But your standard working day for a salaried store manager was 10 hours, and you had to be 10 hours on the floor. Meaning you're walking the floor just over and over and over for hours, right? Like how often can you walk like a single building? Like this is not like this is not an arena. This is a small grocery, like it's a store. It's not a huge place. Anyway, you're walking 10 hours. But look, during Black Friday and during that season, you're walking the floor for 12 to 14 hours, right? And of course, it's Black Friday, so you're not spending time with your family. You at the store, right? And as time goes on, finally we kind of ramp ourselves up and we're getting ready for Black Friday. And I'm able to see my family for Thanksgiving, but only for like the day before Thanksgiving, like the morning before. Then I have to leave and go to work and get ready to go and work my shift, my 14-hour shift at Target for Black Friday. And I did that. I worked the shift. And I was always a team player. Like, so I'm picking up other people's stuff. I'm helping people. I'm taking a half day so someone else can have a full day or a day and a half. Like, I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm like really working. I know deep down that I don't want to do this, that it just does not vibe with anything that I'm about, does not vibe with me as a person, does not vibe with me as a creator, does not vibe with me as a professional, doesn't vibe with me and my core values based on the person I'm having to report to. But I didn't want to admit that this was not a fit for me. So I kept on denying it. And finally, one day, while I'm working as hard as I am, my boss pulls up some report about the fact that I didn't finish some training and makes it a huge deal that I didn't do some type of grocery training or some nonsense or some I don't know. Like it was something petty. And the reality is the person who was over that training told me I didn't have to take it. But they escalated it and said, this is a big deal. This can get you in trouble with corporate. And why would you do this? And blah, 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 blah. And that's when I broke down. Like I just started crying. Like I started crying, y'all. I was upset. I did not appreciate the way that I felt like I was being mistreated. I felt like my work was being ignored. I felt like my frustrations were being ignored. The way I was being treated by my leader was being glossed over, ignored. I really had no advocacy for myself at all. Like I was like just by myself. And I remember feeling like genuinely alone. And also it was a job. I needed a job. Like I didn't have any savings. I'm just out of college. I'm broke, right? I got two roommates, but like my bills are my bills. I need money. I want to say like my checks at the time, maybe it was like, I don't know. Maybe it was like $1,400 every 2 weeks. Like I wasn't making a lot of money, right? Now to me at the time I was making a ton of money, but I wasn't making no money for real. Right. So, at the end of every month, I probably had like maybe $2,800, $2,900. And I wasn't making enough money to save. I had a lot of bills. I was trying to get married. And so in my mind, my whole life was dependent on me staying strong and keeping this job. So anyway, they come at me with this report. You didn't do this certified fresh chest, da, 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 da. And I just bust down crying. Now, in that moment when I started crying, one of the senior leaders just walked out, got in a huff and walked out. Like he didn't ask how I was doing, didn't do either. The other HR manager, who was really in coordination and cahoots with my direct supervisor, was like, why are the tears? What's going on? I said, I don't know if I can, this job, like I can't. She's like, do you feel like you can't do the job? I said, and she said it kind of like with this hesitation. And I said, I don't know. And she said, okay, well, do me a favor. Why don't you just sit down and write down like everything you do from when you come in to when you leave, and then like let's review it together, right? Let's review this list together of all the little things that you do all the day. Now, again, at this point, because she had been seeing how I was being treated by this other lady, so it's like, what are you asking me to do that for? I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not writing all this shit down. I'm not doing that. But that's what she asked. And then she walks out. So I'm still crying. I'm in the office by myself. Like I'm in the office. I'm in my own room. I'm in my office by myself crying. And I get up and I walk across because my manager's office is right next to me. And I walk in and I say, hey, here are my priorities the next 2 weeks. Also, I'm quitting. Like I'm resigning. I don't want to work here anymore. And I remember my boss, she wanted to act like she wasn't happy. So she tried to act like she was surprised, right? She was like, but she wasn't unhappy. She wasn't surprised. She was waiting for that. She had been treating me like absolute trash for like months. So she was excited about me leaving, right? And I'm still over here like I still want to do a good job because again, for some reason, I can't grapple, or I'm thinking for some reason that me quitting is still a failure on my part, right? So I'm still trying to perform for this person who I know don't like me. And she takes my resignation, and then I work, and for the next 2 weeks, like she's kind of talking past me because I mean, look, at that point, I'm a zombie. I'm a dead man walking. Like I'm gone. She's walking past me. She's delegating my stuff to other people. I'm kind of just doing busy work around the store. I let my coworkers know. They're not surprised. Most of them are not surprised. My man was surprised. Pete, what's up, man? Peter, I know you were surprised, but if he's listening to this, he was surprised. But what was interesting was I look up and I see I have so many days of vacation. Now, some of those days for vacation can be paid out to me, but some of those days can't. And I asked another person who was a bit of a mentor for me at the time. I said, hey, what should I do? They said, you need to get those days because those are your vacation days. And I said, well, and I said, well, what if they say they can't give me the days because I don't have enough time, like, scheduling and everything. She's like, you can say, talk to my lawyer or give me my days. And so I said that. I texted that to my manager. And they said, okay, well, we'll give you the days, right? They're like, okay, well, just come to work tomorrow. So they just said, just come to work. We'll figure it out. I said, okay. So I go to work the next day and I try to log in and all my stuff is not working. But they were like, oh, Zach, just work a register. Just work a register. Come to find out, they cut all my stuff off. And they said, well, Zach, just work until the afternoon. And then today will be your last day and you can just go. Right? Now, they brought the whole management team up there to the store for that day. And all the other managers was looking at me like I was crazy or looking at me like I was some type of pariah, did not want to talk to me. These are other Target store managers. They did not want to talk to me, did not want to look at me. And then when I'm packing up my stuff, the leadership team acknowledges and says, oh, great job to this other person for doing all the great work in human resources. Now, this is the person that I was managing. And so in front of me, they acknowledged this other person for doing all the work that I had done. Right. And at that point, I had all my stuff packed up and I got in my car and I left. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I never felt in my career, I don't think I've ever felt so small. I was embarrassed. I was mad. I felt just disrespected over and over and over again. So many different ways, like so many micro and macro aggressions in this moment. And I think it was from that moment that I made a decision that moving forward, if I was ever going to quit another job, I was going to quit on my terms. I wasn't going to try to beg for somebody to approve my work. I was going to go in knowing who I am, knowing the value of my work. I was going to speak to, if I'm experiencing mistreatment or disrespect, I was going to speak to that. And I was going to make the point to articulate where I believe the organization needs to change and improve on my way out the door. Those are all things I didn't do at Target. I let them paint whatever narrative they wanted to paint about me. I let them show me the door. I didn't quit on my own terms. I let them quit me, right? And I've gone on, and like we're going to talk about this in future podcasts, because like I feel like I learned, but like in each story I have about quitting, I quit a little bit better. But this is by far like the worst example I have of just like quitting and quitting poorly, right? Every time you quit a job, I believe you should write a resignation letter. I do believe that you should send it to the highest points of leadership that you possibly can. I do believe that you should leave a review on Glassdoor and any other place that'll take your review. I do believe that you should document your instances of mistreatment and frustration. I believe that you owe it not to like some doing the right thing, Boy Scout thing. I just think you owe it to yourself, because you are a human being. Like if you know that now this is not if you was doing a bad job. If you're doing a bad job and you quit or you got fired, hey bro, come on, you wasn't doing your job. But if you were showing up and doing the best you could, and know that you were putting in good effort, know that you were doing right by folks and were being treated like trash, it's not about satisfying somebody else. It's about just doing right by your own name. You owe it to yourself to voice your discontent, your frustration, to document what happened, and to advocate for yourself. Because that was the main thing I believe that story, my Target job taught me, was nobody's going to advocate for you but you. Nobody. Right? Like a bunch of people saw me getting mistreated at that job. A ton of people saw me getting like just shafted left and right. A bunch of people took advantage. People knew that I would be accountable, that I would apologize. No one else was really accountable like that. It was just not in a high accountability culture. They took advantage of that. They took my accountability and used it against me. Well, Zach, you said you messed up, so now we got to do this to you because you said. And so I just think it's important, right? Like, be mindful of the narratives that you have at your job and own your narratives. And you own your narratives by effectively communicating. You own your narratives by documenting what you need, documenting what you expect, and also sharing it with the people who are in charge, not just your manager, not just your boss's boss, but your boss's 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 boss. Like, it's okay. You're leaving, right? We'll talk more about this again. Doing a live stream, want to try something different. I'm going to talk to y'all soon. Peace.
Living Corporate is a podcast by Living Corporate LLC. Our logo was designed by David Dawkins. Our theme music was produced by Ken Brown. Additional music production by Antoine Franklin for Musical Elevation. Post-production is handled by Jeremy Jackson. Got a topic suggestion? Email us at livingcorporatepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us online on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and living-corporate.com. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned.